There are 18-year-olds out there that know exactly what they want to do. They set their mind to it. They're like, I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to go work at Boeing and I'm going to do this. And if you are that kind of person, props to you, but you are 1% subsect of the population because most people are not like that. I know me at 18. All I wanted to do was to go out, party, and have no responsibilities or anything like that.
Aloha, folks, and welcome to the Degree Free Podcast. This week, I talked to Allen Helm. He is the Director of Account Services at Bitcoin Magazine. In this episode, we have a wide-ranging conversation. Allen talks about his experience breaking out of college, how he then proceeded to build a career for himself and transition not once, but twice into his current role, working in an industry that he's extremely passionate about. It was amazing, super encouraging. And at the end, he gives some really actionable advice for parents and young adults who are facing the college decision and what he would do if he could go back to when he was 18. Please enjoy this episode with Allen Helm. Welcome back to the Degree Free Podcast. I am here with a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself to the Degree Free listeners?
Hannah, hello. My name's Allen Helm. I'm the Director of Account Services here at BTC Inc., which is the parent company to Bitcoin Magazine, the Bitcoin Conference, and then our fund, UTXO.
Awesome. Allen, I have been looking forward to is a very patient man. And Allen, we have all been trying to get him on for a couple months. So this is a very big deal. Very excited to interview him and have him tell his degree-free story today. So Allen, what is your job exactly?
Well, first off, it's a pleasure. I should say that you have been 10 times more patient with my schedule, and I appreciate you guys working around it and everything. So super excited to be on. As far as my job and like my day-to-days here at BTC Inc., we're a startup. We're a scrappy startup, just like every other Bitcoin company in the world. And so there's a lot of hats that are worn. But specifically, my responsibility on the day-to-days, I am driving strategy as it relates to managing our active accounts. Not only am I working with some of the junior guys to upskill them on their day-to-day interaction with clients, but I'm also figuring out like, okay, hey, client A is about to wrap up with this product. What are we doing to keep them involved with us? And like, oh, they're not interested. Why is that? Like, is it something we did wrong? So like, do we need to improve like process efficiencies there? Or is it purely like they're just not interested at this time? It's like, okay, well then give them some time. Let's see how they're doing in 6 months.
What you're doing is so fascinating because you're working in print and essentially it's digital, but a little bit you're in a journalism print medium. And so I want to get into how people can look for jobs in that field. There's a ton of people interested in journalism. There's a ton of people interested in writing. There's a ton of people interested in working for informational services businesses and media businesses like you're in. I'm going to dive a little bit into the background for that. But what I would like to start with, and what I'm trying to start with in these episodes is, did you buy a college degree before you got this job?
College degree was something that I had attempted, did not complete. I grew up in what I would call like your average American household, Catholic schoolboy growing up. The standard operating procedure for everybody was, hey, you got to go to college. You're going to get a 4-year degree. Then maybe you get your master's. And that's what everybody does if you want to be successful. And in my case, my parents were like, hey, you can be a doctor or a lawyer. I was like, no, I want to do the business thing. They're like, no, we're going to pay for your school and you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. And so I was like, okay, that's a fair trade-off. I can get in, you'll pay for some of my school. We'll do that. And it took me 3.5 years of being miserable to realize I do not want to be a doctor. And so I dropped out. And that's where the fun, and by fun, I mean problems that I needed to figure out with solutions began. And ultimately, now we're like 10 years removed from that, was probably the best decision I ever made in my life.
So I want to take you back to that time because I know that this is something I just did another episode recently. He's a little bit closer to this decision. He's 22. He's a financial analyst. So he's degree free too. So for us, for you and I, we're about the same age. And so we have to rewind a little bit to go back to how we were feeling at this time. But was there a specific moment that you remember, a catalyst moment? Because I had one where I was just sitting in a class and the professor was drawing on about Jackson Pollock and I can't stand Jackson Pollock. And I just went, I can't be here one more minute. Was there a moment for you that you just went, I can't do this. I cannot do this one more day?
Yeah, I want to say I went through a number of those types of moments, but we'll call them mini moments where it was like I wouldn't get the grade I wanted on an exam, or I'd be talking to my advisor and he'd be recommending like, hey, you need to take this course, these courses for this semester. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to take biochemistry 2600 or whatever. Or no, I don't want to take this lab. Like, I'm not interested. Like, why am I doing this? And then I would go and like hang out with my friends who are all at the business school, Cornell Business School at Mizzou. And, I was hearing them talk about like their finance classes and like econ. As a kid growing up, like a late stage millennial, early Gen Z, YouTube, it was my library. I wasn't interested so much in the entertainment things, but it was like economics and science and cars and how all these things worked was like what I liked and what I would watch. It was never biology or anything like that. My friends would be talking about their econ classes. And then through YouTube, I'd be like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And then I go home and be like, I'd go to prep for my lab the next day and be like, why am I doing this? What's going on? And so it was a number of those mini moments. And then finally, one day, so tough to remember now. I can't remember if it was before the conclusion of winter exams or after the conclusion, but there was always a week prior where like all the college kids are just going out, whether you've been done or not done. And I was always kind of known as the lively, fun, go-getter person. And I just had a night where it like something snapped. My girlfriend at the time, now wife, was first to see it all kind of go down. And she literally pulled me aside and she was like, you need to go home. She was like, you're not coming back here. So we packed up my car the very next day and that was that. I left, never came back.
Okay, so wow, you just left. The next day you just left.
Yeah, it was fast. It was literally, I woke up that morning very hungover, not feeling
Full
great.
disclosure, parents listening.
Full disclosure. Packed up my 2008 Ford Escape and went home. And that was that.
Okay, so when you got home, how did your parents react to that?
So I do want to preface, I love my parents. My parents and I have a good relationship now. Things are good. At the time, it made things very rocky. They were disappointed at first. I think a little bit shocked more than anything. They were like, hey, we had no idea you were feeling this way. Why didn't you tell us? And I was like, yeah, I was kind of telling you guys. I could have been probably better on some of the communication things. And they were just, okay, take a week, figure your emotions out, essentially. And then that week went up. All right, you're going to enroll in the community college. I'm not going to tell you what classes you're going to take, but this is coming out of your own pocket. He was like, you need to do school. So I was like, okay, I will enroll and start over again and start doing business classes this go around. And that was right around the time that my car also broke down completely. So now I had no method of transportation. Parents weren't paying for anything.
And how old were you at this point? You would be 21-ish? It must have been.
I was 20. So I'm on the younger end when it comes to classes. I'm late July, so always the last drive, last to get licensed, that sort of thing. So yeah, I was 20 at the time, if you put together the hungover thing.
No judgment here, man. I'm just listening.
Yeah, so community college thing, dad said I needed to do that. I said, okay, figured it'd be good structure. Car broke down, didn't have the money. And that was really the first thing. There's a couple of things. Okay, I have no money. 2, also, I used to work out and was a big sports guy in high school. I'd gotten very overweight. A lot of the things that kept me happy, I was supplementing with vices that were being an excuse to make me happy, essentially. Lose this car, that was kind of like the final straw. My now father-in-law was like, hey, you need to get a job. My dad on one hand saying I need to go to school. My father-in-law being like, you need to get a job. So I started applying, and the thing I was good at the time was my buddies and I had a small landscaping lawn care business. And that's what I knew. So I applied to True Green, wanted to figure out the fertilizing thing.
Remember the job title that you applied for?
I was a route manager, fancy for you get behind a truck and push fertilizer through.
Was that the first formal job you'd ever had? I'm curious.
There was multiple small things I'd done on the side. I was doing like stagehand and rigging stuff for Live Nation for a little bit. Prior to that, I had worked for like another lawn care cutting guy, big commercial style mowing things. Prior to that, those things were hourly and not, hey, you need to show up 7, 5.
20 years old, your first job, you're a route manager for a fertilizer company. How do you get from that to where you are now?
I can't remember where I heard this. I'll just give my dad credit for it because maybe he was the one who said it. He was like, you're going to be a garbage man. You better be the best damn garbage man that you've ever been. I would say it's a pretty fairly common saying that a lot of people say. That fertilizer job, and this is no knock to anybody doing landscaping or lawn care or anything like that, but it felt like my garbage man job. I have no skills. I'm personable. I can talk to people. I've done a little bit of lawn care, but there's a lot to learn here. And so I was like, I'm going to be the best dang lawn care route manager technician that there ever was. I found out real quickly with like my boss, I was like, hey, how do I get raises fast? He's like, well, you can get certified in X, Y, and Z, and you can follow these guys. So I was like, all right, let me just get all these certs. I get this one cert, that's $2 raise. I get this next cert, that's a $3 raise an hour. And it was not a lot at the time.
So when you say certs, are they lawn or arborist type certs, or were they OSHA certs, or what were they? I'm very curious.
Yeah, so these were through the Missouri Department of Agriculture. Anyone can kind of get on a lawnmower and cut lawns, but it's not really a good idea when you give a 19 or 20-year-old chemical pesticides and are applying them in mass. For one, we don't want you to get cancer. For two, we don't want you to give the neighbors cancer. There's a couple certs on just how to apply pesticides. And then once you had that under your belt, you could move into some horticulture type things, plant management. You could go all the way to fungicide and different kinds of things.
I just did this for a kid I was working with up in North Carolina. I literally just broke all this down. That's why I was asking, because it's state by state from what I found. Sorry, please continue. I'm not a derailment at all.
No, all good. I was just going to say that entire world of pesticides, Monsanto, like the Dow companies, well, we would never use Roundup. That's like Home Depot type stuff. We were more like dicamba and different kinds of things. Getting into technicals doesn't matter. But there's a lot to learn. I kind of poking fun saying that this was my garbage man job. And then I kind of got obsessed with it to the point, even to this day, I look at everybody's lawns and I'm like, you need to do X, Y, and Z to this. I joke around that when I retire one day, I'm going to buy a 48-inch Exmark and run my own fertilizer and lawn mowing company because I loved it that much.
Oh, wow. That's such a good story. And it's also the thing that I really want to point out to, and I point this out to a lot of parents, but your first job is not your last job. So that was your first job, but it clearly taught you a ton of things. Clearly, still to this day, you can tell that that experience left a mark on you, and it taught you how to be strategic about what you learned in order to get where you're trying to go. So you moved up. And then once you got to the ceiling of this job, what was the highest title you left with?
I should preface, because it's helpful context, that because I cared more about this job than my community college classes, that I failed out of those classes too. So not only did I not take half of my exams at Mizzou, but I also flunked out of the community college. So now I've failed out of Mizzou and then failed out of the community college. So I had no choice. I had to be the best dang lawn care tech that had ever existed in the world. This is a mentality that I've adopted to this day, every place that I have worked since then. And it is, how do I get my boss's job? What do I have to do to get my boss's job? If I were to be the owner of this company, what skill set would I need to learn? I don't know if it was from sports or just competition by nature. And I try to be as friendly, competitive as possible. I want to be a good team player and a good teammate, but I want to be the best person at the end of the day. So it's like trying to figure out and identifying who are the good people at this job. How can I observe, learn, ask questions, and that sort of thing. Did all that specifically with Green Envy, True Green, spent 2 years with them. They were a smaller branch of company, so there was just no moving up. I know there's a ceiling here. I need to go somewhere else where there isn't. So I found this company called Heritage that needed a chemical operations manager to essentially run inventory, hiring, training programs, reporting to the Missouri Department of Agriculture, all applications and stuff and that sort of thing. And while they weren't a national company, and this guy was running like $5-6 million in revenue a year with 50 trucks, this subsect of the business had really no leadership for some time. It was in disarray. There was no reporting for a long time. And I was like, I can do this. And at the time I was 21, 22. And he's like, I don't believe you.
How did you convince him?
So I said, hire me as a tech. You need a tech. I'll do it. And so slowly but surely, I was like, all right, there's no reporting here. I know that the lady at the time who used to do all the auditing, her name was Wendy. Only a matter of time before Wendy shows up. I'm going to use that as my opportunity when she's like, where's all the reporting, for me to be like, boom, here's a stack of things.
What did you use to do that? So it was in disarray, and you probably, I would imagine, had too much software or reporting or accounting experience at that point. How did you learn how to do that?
So I'm backtracking here a little bit. So going back to how I would take my boss's job at Green Envy, True Green, There was a lot of reporting that my boss would have to do. And I was, hey, I can do this for free for you for easy. I just want to learn. So I got to learn how to use like a lot of the systems, and I got paid no extra for it. I was literally, let me do this for you, and way to kind of build trust with the boss.
So you could get his job.
Yeah. Get his job, but selfishly more so in that kind of environment, you don't get kids usually like me who are like, want to learn skills. So something like that, when you have somebody who's like pestering, like, I want to learn, it's very well received.
I say that all the time on this podcast. I try to tell parents, when you have young adults and they go into jobs and they just go, I want to learn, people will bend over backwards to let them most of the time.
Absolutely. And I've learned that sometimes some people will also take advantage of that, which is what I learned at this job. So to answer your question, how did I convince new boss at Heritage to let me take on this department? At the prior job, I was just mass collecting and writing down what are the processes of everything that we're doing. Because I was always trying to be more and more efficient. Like, how could I hit more houses? How could I cut down on more time? Little things like, I'm not going to wear my seatbelt in this neighborhood because I can get out of the car faster. And then at stoplights, I can pre-write my notes or something, whatever. So it was like less time to put it on the door. And then it got to the point where I could do some door knocking and do some selling, even though it's not my job at all. But then by doing that, it would make more houses on the same street so I could do more.
So I am a big fan of the door knocking or different types of sales experience like that in a young adult age, because that will teach you failure. It'll teach you method. It'll teach you discipline. It teaches you so many things. Would you say that that's something that you think most people need, that sort of experience? Because I'm sure that sales experience translated into lots of different things later in your life.
You need rejection in your life for sure, which obviously up to that point, there was a ton of rejection. I'd flunked out of school. It was embarrassing for all friends. Parents were upset. So door knocking was just another step in the collection of rejection.
Sure. When you put it like that, I realize how true that sounds, but yeah.
But it is something that a lot of people need. I think it's very important for character development and learning how to not just accept no, learning the psychology of different humans and how to communicate with them and get what you want, which some people would say is manipulation, but a better word I'd like to use is negotiations, essentially. If you know you can bring value to somebody and they don't know it yet, people's defaults always know. How do you best communicate that? So in my instance, I wasn't a door knocker. So I knew I had an advantage being a guy with a fertilizer gun, wearing a fertilizer uniform and doing the neighbor's yard. And I'm like, hey, Mr. Jones over here's got a really nice yard, $24. I'll do it one time. It'll kill all your weeds. He'll be like, no. I'll be like, okay, I'll see you next week.
And you'll ask him again. Oh, wow. That's awesome. So you now got the job at Heritage. You're doing the reporting. And when Wendy came in and she asked for the audit, did you in fact plunk down your...
One of the big things was they called them MDS binders, material data safety sheet, which is more than a sheet. It was literally like a whole binder of every chemical you've ever used and what are the safety procedures for it. So that was one thing she needed to say. And I had secretly, when I left Green Envy, I stole one of those binders and then went online and found all the PDFs to recreate my own. And so I printed them and put them in all 5 trucks that we had at the time. And then I also took a lot of the reporting materials and just literally recreated them completely and just filling out my own reports on my own. So I just had this cache of reports. So she came by and obviously I wasn't there at the time. My boss calling me, he's like, hey, you need to bring the truck back, yada, yada, whatever, kind of freaking out. And I was like, hey, we're good. Don't worry. So I plopped it out. When he was like, oh, you actually have this. Mike never has this. And he just had this look in his face. He was like, what?
Right. Because you're 20, 21, 22 at the time.
Yeah. 21, 22 at the time.
Did he promote you after that and give you the management job?
No, it wasn't after that. It was really more of just a game of persistence, right? Just like with the next door neighbor, it was just like, hey, I can do this. Hey, I can do this. Hey, I can do this. And eventually like everyone on that team had quit. Just me doing everything all by myself. And I was getting to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was like, I need to hire some people. And he was like, yeah, we can hire people. And then he never moved on it. So I went on ZipRecruiter and Indeed. And I was like, I'm going to put my own job posting and just feed him interviews. I did that for one day and had 50 applicants. I was like, here, you're going to set up interviews with these people today or I quit. And that was finally when he was like, why don't you just do it, Allen?
Wow. Okay. So now you're a chemical process manager. Is that what the technical title was?
Chemical operations manager.
Chemical operations manager. Okay. So how did you get from chemical operations manager to where you are now? This is such a good story.
So same girlfriend that pulled me out of college. We, in that time, now wife, while I had that job, we were not together. We were not together at that time. I was living in Soulard, St. Louis, which was where all the post-grad kids live. It's like the French Quarter or all the bars, the fun thing. We had a house there.
You're fun. It's okay.
I don't party at all. Now I don't. Things have changed a lot, I should say. But, I was still kind of like in some ways, but like at this time, very fit, had my own job, it was just fun. Was living with my best friend that I've been friends with since I was like 3 years old. Life was great. It was Mardi Gras, had a party. We had reconnected at that event. And then we found out that we were going to have a kid. I had always taken the mentality that I was, similar to the job, that if I were ever to be a father, that I would be the best father ever. And I knew that I was not in a financial position or just generally in a point in life where I was ready to have a kid, but I wanted to be the best dad. So I was like, I have to figure it out. So to answer your question about how did I get to here where I am now, essentially the catalyst was my son. We got to a point where she was in her second trimester of being pregnant. And I think I was working 16-hour days. I would show up to the shop at 5:30 to open up. And then I would be there until midnight trying to fix pieces of equipment to make sure that the guys could get out the next day. It was very strenuous, albeit the overtime pay was really good, or at least I thought it was good pay for what it was at the time. And also it was just what I was saying earlier, that when you ask for help and you're younger, sometimes mentors will want to help you, but they'll take advantage of you. This was one of those situations. There was a carrot being dangled over my head that if you work this long, something's going to happen. But my wife being in her second trimester, I was just like, I can't work 16 hours a day. In the back of my head, I was like, okay, I want to be the best employee, best person I can to upskill myself, but I also want to be the best dad. And these two things are conflicting with one another. There needs to be a balance between the two. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to find something else that I can do. What do I know? I know that I can sell clients. I know that I'm organized, and I've demonstrated time in and time over again that I can learn. I just need to put those skills on a piece of paper and in a cover letter and start applying for entry-level positions. I found a job with State Farm at just a local insurance agent in this town called Kirkwood. And I timed it out so that when my firstborn, Keller, was born, I would have 30 days off from the moment I quit to just be at home, get this whole transition in place, and then start this job at State Farm. So I went through the interview process, did the whole thing like the resume, just curated it so that it matched the job description, but then really leaned into, hey, you don't need to pay attention to this no degree thing. I'm not even going to mention the degree thing. I'm just going to write Mizzou or University of Missouri, Columbia, and then really going hard on all the things that I've done. And so that was enough to get an interview. And then the next step was just being personable with the insurance agent. And I think one of the things that he gravitated to, and this is something I hadn't mentioned yet, having been in lawn care, a lot of time that you're driving either out on someone's yard, I would have my headphones in 24/7 and I was having some podcast playing. If I wasn't learning things for the job, it was what else can I be learning on X, Y, and Z, and all the popular podcasts now that everybody listens to. That's just essentially what I was listening to at the time. The hiring manager, the insurance agent, I'd mentioned that to him and he really gravitated toward it. He's like, okay, this kid can learn. The learning aspect was important for him because you obviously can't sell insurance without having your insurance license. Had to take an exam. All the certs that I had gotten were relevant. He was like, okay, he could take the exam. So I took it, passed it with flying colors, and I had the job. Albeit I was making about $35,000 less that year. And my wife was still in school and we just had her kid, just little one. We had no health insurance at the time. Things were hard.
I want to pause for a minute because the biggest thing that I want to get your perspective on here is one of the things that I hear the most frequently. And I hear this both from parents of young adults who are about to go and figure out where they're going to go in life and what they're going to do, but also from people who are trying to change jobs. A lot of the times people will not even attempt to change industries because they will just assume that their skills don't translate, because clearly you had a ton of skills from your lawn care experience and from all of that you did. But a lot of people will just go, oh, I don't have any skills. That I hear that all the time. You probably heard it before too. People just say, oh, I don't have any skills. And you'll go, what are you talking about? You have so many skills. But specifically with people, I've found that this is people that have business, entrepreneurship experience, or sales experience. They just go, oh, I don't have any skills. And did you just instinctively know, oh, I was doing sales before, so I can do sales in this other industry, and you just went for it? How did you address that in the interview that you had? And then also, how did you address, did they bring up you being degree free in that interview or no?
So the short answer to skill set translation into other sectors of industry. It was kind of a no-brainer to me. I've always kind of had this goes all the way back to me dropping out of school, right? Like I've always gravitated towards business, economics, sales, and that sort of thing. I knew I just had to get a job somewhere where I could improve those skills on a day-to-day basis. And I knew, having done the lawn care thing for like 4 to 5 years in a professional setting, I was like, 4 to 5 years of genuine selling experience is going to translate pretty well to insurance. Yes, I don't have an insurance license to sell and I don't know the product, but I've also demonstrated I, through my certifications here, can learn. When that question was inevitably brought up by the hiring employer at State Farm, where he was like, can you explain to me why you didn't finish college? I was honest with him, number one. Honesty is always super important, especially when you're meeting anyone for the first time, right? And people can sniff out when you're lying or being deceitful. The truth always comes out. It never pays well to lie. So I was very honest with him, the situation. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it was a failure that I learned from, and I've turned it to as much of a success as I possibly can at this point. And also, here's some proof that I have been able to learn and pass things, set goals and accomplish it. It was a good answer, obviously a good answer for him. I mean, he hired me. But from the standpoint of figuring out, okay, how do skills translate to other things? It's just this balance of X, Y, and Z. You know, the employer is going to ask where you're deficient in. You need to have a good explanation to the employer for how you can achieve the things that you are missing in the skill set that's needed, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. And you summed that up really well. I hope that everybody heard that too. That was really key for those of you going, I don't have any skills, or I don't know how the current ones that I have translate into the job that I want. Awesome. So now this is really good. This is quite a story. You told me this was going to be quite a story, and it is. This is an epic in every way. So you went from Mizzou to community college to lawn care, and then you went to State Farm. And after State Farm, so how long did you stay there, and what happened next?
This is where things start to get fun. I was only at State Farm for 9 months total. And in that time, my son, when he was born, had some respiratory issues. So he was in and out of the hospital quite a bit. He was born November 2020. So this was 2021. This was like height of the pandemic, in and out of the hospital. And we haven't chatted about this too much. I had been interested in crypto, I guess, since 2016, 2017, right when I dropped out of school, out of desperation of needing money and just trying to flip money as much as I could. And the show called Mr. Robot, that was like really into it. That's not important for the story.
It's all important to the story, Allen. It's all good.
I got like burned really bad in 2017 with crypto. Like I lost a bunch of money.
Playing in the coins, it happens.
Yeah, playing, essentially putting it all on black or all on red with this one token or whatever. So I got burned really bad, left a sour taste in my mouth, but I was always in the back of my mind, the YouTube algorithm would pop some things up. Twitter would always pop things up. I had an account specifically focused on just Bitcoin. So I was only following Bitcoin people. And so every now and then I would check it. And then one day, my son's in the hospital. It's 2021, very beginning of 2021. So this is like January. I see all of a sudden like prices creeping up. Okay, I should start looking into this Bitcoin thing. And so I start getting really obsessed with it, as I do with anything I'm interested in. And then I find out that my boss at State Farm is also obsessed with crypto. So our days go from what I'm supposed to be doing, selling insurance, to us spending 3 to 4 hours
On
every
YouTube.
day talking about what's going on crypto. Yeah. He's telling me about Chainlink and Shiba Inu and Dogecoin.
For those listening, those are all alternative cryptocurrency tokens. They are different from Bitcoin.
Very different from Bitcoin. And I started getting down into the sect of Bitcoin maximalism and Bitcoin only, and like really why Bitcoin is very different from every other cryptocurrency out there and is like a hardcore money. As someone who had been struggling financially and understood that the dollar was losing value very rapidly, I just overnight, it was like, I got to get a job in Bitcoin. I don't know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, but I am going to get a job. With my boss, like we were having these conversations every day, and it shifted from, oh, what's the next thing to gamble on, to I was subconsciously, hey, actually, we shouldn't be doing any of that. Like we should only be buying Bitcoin. And so I started progressively becoming not a good employee, but taking the day to only look at Bitcoin things beyond Bitcoin Twitter, that sort of thing. And then one day, Anthony Pompliano had decided to spin up the Crypto Academy. It was a very brand new thing. And I hopped in, I think it was the third cohort. Yeah, they had done 2 betas, and then technically I was the first. And I remember filling it out and getting to the end, and there was a cost associated to it. I won't say on the show how much it was.
We just had Kenny on down and he talked about it. So you're good.
I think it was like $1,000, $2,000. And for me at the time, it was a lot of money. I did not have the money to do it. My wife was just about to finally finish her dental hygiene school. I loaded up on her credit card the fees to complete that exam. And unfortunately, she didn't pass it that first go around, which meant I was going to have to pay it again. And then the application for the course came back and Pomp was like, yeah, you can get in. I had to tell my wife, I was like, we are not going to take your exam yet. I need to take this course and I'm going to max out our credit card for $1,000 or whatever, because I was super convicted in the sense that I have no connections in this industry. I don't have the skill set to get in front of somebody right away, but I know this is the path. If at the very least, I will meet somebody that will give me guidance to get to the next step, to get the job that I want.
Yeah, you need a network.
Yes, in short. And this is my one shot at escaping a very poor salary and very poor commission structure and solving the problem of me wanting to have enough time with my newborn and my wife who's going through postpartum and school and all of that. There was a lot of pushback at first. We eventually agreed on it together, took the course. I did it in secret during the workday.
I love it.
Lo and behold, I met a bunch of great people in the show. I met CK from Bitcoin Magazine through Bitcoin Twitter and that sort of thing. And one thing led to the next. Inevitably, I got a job at Bitcoin Magazine as an account manager. And I remember going to my boss and I felt really bad because I was like, this guy's paying me money out of his pocket and I'm just over here trying to get a job elsewhere. And I told him, I was like, hey, I got a job at Bitcoin Magazine. And he was so excited for me. He was like, totally makes sense. And he was also like, how?
Can you help me do it? He was probably like, wait a minute. Give me the information. I want to go too. How long have you been at Bitcoin? I think I know, but for the listeners, how long have you been at Bitcoin Magazine / the Bitcoin conference?
So September 7th will be 3 years.
Wow.
Almost 3 years.
It was a long road to get where you are. And just so people understand too, I believe that your job is hybrid or is it fully remote, your job?
Technically, I can be remote if I want. I'm actually today, I'm in our office, if you can't tell with the Bitcoin Magazine
Yeah, I was
pillow.
I was wondering, I was like, I think you're in the office. That's a pretty amazing. You're able to take your lawn care experience and roll it into transitional jobs and eventually end up in an industry that you care about a lot. And this is something too that kind of want to talk about a little bit because a lot of parents are worried about their young adults when they break out of college or if they decide not to spend money and buy degrees, then they worry, well, they'll never get to work in their passion. It is my belief that you need to pay your bills first, which you definitely did, in order to find out what you want to do that actually is your passion. Because it's very difficult to find your passion when you are spending money you don't have, when you just graduated high school and you have no work experience, no real world experience. I think the question I'm trying to get across here that I want to get your perspective on is, when do you think you had earned the right to follow your passion?
That's a really good question. It's going to sound cliche, but I think I earned the right when I finally decided to work and improve on myself, start improving on myself rather than feeling sorry and woe is me and I'm doing this degree for someone else. It was like, no, I'm going to take the reins of my own destiny, which sounds cliche, but the mental desire to make a switch, to just try and not being afraid of failure and then failing a lot and then figuring out, hey, why did I fail? What caused this failure? What are the steps to rectify said failure? And maybe if there were people involved in that failure, maybe they'll help me too. Again, if I come to them with a solution or something like that.
I want to make sure I respect your time. But I think my last question for you is, if you could go back now, or if you were 18 again, instead of buying a college degree, what do you think you would do instead to get where you are now?
There's no one size fits all question for everybody. So for me specifically, everybody needs to analyze where they are in life. There are 18-year-olds out there that know exactly what they want to do. They set their mind to it. They're like, I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to go work at Boeing and I'm going to do this. And if you are that kind of person, props to you, but you are 1% subsect of the population because most people are not like that. I know me at 18. All I wanted to do was to go out, party, and have no responsibilities or anything like that.
Hey there, I hope you're enjoying our conversation and getting a lot of value out of it. Here's a little behind the scenes. We don't pay our guests to join us. They come on purely to share their stories and experiences in the hopes that you can learn from their mistakes and take some lessons away so that you can change your life. The more our podcast reaches people just like you, the more brilliant degree-free people we can have on as guests to come and share their stories. So if today's conversation resonated with you, or you've listened to multiple episodes, please take a moment and share this episode with a friend. Just a simple click on that share button or a shout out on your stories will make a world of difference. More shares means more listeners, and more listeners means more amazing guests for you. If you could do that right now, you would play a huge role in keeping this chain of knowledge going. Thank you for being a huge part of Degree Free.
And it's because growing up, I wasn't put in a position to have said responsibilities. And I think you had mentioned earlier, it's very hard when you don't have a concept of need to pay bills on this day or this is going to happen, to get a sense of time value of money, your time, your money, what you can afford, what you can't afford, and what you need to do to grow in order to essentially have your time be more valuable. So for me, I think the biggest thing I would change is out of high school, I would not have enrolled in college at all. I would have gotten a job, learned some hard skills and soft skills, because I think both are equally important. And then from there, that would have probably enabled me to have at least some money saved up and a couple of punches to the gut where I'm like, hey, maybe I don't like making $15 an hour pushing fertilizer. Maybe I want to go actually pursue something greater. Then from there, you could deviate. Maybe you do find out that college is the path for you. At least then you know what you're getting into, because you understand like, oh yeah, things are expensive. I don't want to be $100,000 in debt and student loans. Or B, you've made some connections now, and that can actually help you get a job and kickstart things down the road where you don't even need a college degree. And really just like the degree as a whole, it's just a signal to employers that you're a reliable person. And more now, I see hiring managers that are just like, oh, it's just like everybody has one. What makes you different? Like you going through these resumes, it's like, you really want to stand out, you got to make a website. You got to make a fun video. You got to know people at the company. Good luck trying to get in front of a hiring recruiter if you know nobody there. Not to say people can't do it, but it's just like there's so many little things that you can do proactively to ensure success. And that doesn't happen being thrusted into just a college degree right away. And you just have to do more school. You're not learning real world skills and how people actually act on a day to day.
That was really good. And also thank you, because I think that's really actionable. So I want to thank you because we're just at time. Amazing job, folks. Allen Helm from Bitcoin Magazine. He has come on and shared some wisdom today for all of us, and his incredible story of his journey from lawn care to working at Bitcoin Magazine. Thank you so much, Allen, for coming on the Degree Free podcast.
No, I appreciate you having me on, Hannah. And if I could do a quick plug, for those that don't know, the Bitcoin conference is happening here in Nashville, July 25th through the 27th. I have a very special code for myself. It's BM10 for 10% off all tickets. If you're semi-interested in Bitcoin, highly encourage you to attend, but it's much more than that. It's a festival and a celebration of one of the biggest and fastest emerging industries in the world. And you have all kinds of speakers. If you're in the political side, we've got like Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy, RFK Jr. that are going to be there. If you're into sports, we've got like Ben Askren. We've got Karate Combat that's showing up and doing fight and that sort of thing. If you're into the tech side, like Google, Amazon, Intel, all those companies are there. So from like a networking standpoint, you can do it. It's a great event. I highly encourage anyone considering it to go.
Thank you so much for your story and for your time. This has been a really good episode. Super appreciate you, Allen.
Thanks, Hannah. I appreciate the time.